Welcome to Book Blink. Today we will talk about The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. There was once a young man named Ayan, ambitious but powerless. He worked tirelessly at his job, always helping others, believing that his kindness and hard work would earn him success. But no matter how much effort he put in, others climbed the ladder while he remained stuck. One day, after being overlooked for a promotion yet again, he confided in an older colleague. The man smiled and handed him a book. "This," he said, "is the book that will teach you how the world truly works." Ayan opened the 48 Laws of Power and soon realized power isn't given, it's taken. He had been playing the wrong game all along. The rules he thought mattered, honesty, loyalty, hard work, were not the rules of those who held power. And so, with each page, he uncovered the hidden strategies used by the world's most powerful figures. Now, let's explore those same lessons. Law 1. Never outshine the master. One of the quickest ways to make an enemy is by making your superior feel insecure. History is filled with examples of brilliant minds who fell from grace simply because they outshined those in power. Take Nicolas Fouquet, the finance minister of France. He was ambitious, charming, and incredibly wealthy. To impress King Louis XIV, he threw an extravagant party at his chateau filled with music, fireworks, and endless luxury. But instead of admiration, the king saw a threat. Days later, Fouquet was arrested and spent the rest of his life in prison. The lesson? Never make those above you feel small. Instead, make them feel secure and in control. Let them take the credit, even if the brilliance is yours. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Friends are unpredictable. They expect loyalty, favors, and sometimes they betray you when least expected. But enemies? They are more reliable because their intentions are clear. Look at Emperor Sung of China. When he came to power, he realized that his friends would one day grow too comfortable and possibly turn against him. So instead of rewarding them with high positions, he placed his former enemies in key roles. The result? They worked harder to prove their loyalty. The takeaway? Don't blindly trust those closest to you. Keep a balance of allies and adversaries, using each to your advantage. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. The moment people know what you're planning, they can stop you. That's why powerful individuals never reveal their true goals. Instead, they mislead, distract, and strike when least expected. Take Otto von Bismarck, the mastermind behind Germany's unification. He never openly declared his ambitions. Instead, he played different sides, making them think he was on their team. By the time anyone realized his true plan, it was too late. Germany was united under his leadership. The lesson? Keep your cards close to your chest. Say less than necessary, and always leave others guessing. This is just the beginning. Do you want me to continue with the next set of laws? 2/2. You said, "Next," ChatGPT said. Here's the next part of your audiobook-style summary of the 48 Laws of Power. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Silence is power. The more you speak, the more you reveal. Powerful people know that words can be dangerous. They can expose weaknesses, create enemies, and give others the upper hand. Think of Louis XIV, the Sun King of France. He was known for his short, carefully chosen words. His famous phrase, "I shall see," kept people uncertain of his thoughts, making them anxious and eager to please him. Those who spoke too much around him often found themselves out of favor. The lesson? Speak less, listen more. The less you reveal, the more others will struggle to figure you out, and that gives you control. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Your reputation is your greatest asset. It can open doors or slam them shut. A single mistake, a careless act, or a bad rumor can destroy years of work. That's why powerful people carefully craft their public image and fiercely protect it. Consider Napoleon Bonaparte. Even after losing battles, he maintained his image as an unstoppable leader. He controlled the narrative, made sure people saw him as a hero, and used propaganda to keep his reputation untarnished. The takeaway? Always be aware of how people perceive you. Never allow your enemies to damage your name. If they try, strike back quickly to destroy their credibility before they destroy yours. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. The most powerful people don't do everything themselves. They make others work for them while taking the rewards. History is filled with leaders, inventors, and rulers who use the intelligence and labor of others to rise to greatness. Thomas Edison, for example, is credited with many inventions, but in reality, he had a team of brilliant minds working under him. He took their ideas, refined them, and ensured that his name was the one the world remembered. The takeaway? Work smart, not hard. Use the skills of others to build your own success. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Powerful people don't chase, they attract. They create situations where others have no choice but to come to them. During World War II, Mao Zedong used this tactic against his enemies. Instead of attacking head-on, he retreated and waited, luring his enemies into unfamiliar territory where he held the advantage. When they were weak and disoriented, he struck with full force. The lesson? Never act desperate. Control the situation so that others must come to you on your terms. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Arguments rarely change minds. People may nod along, but inside their pride is wounded. And wounded pride turns into resentment. The truly powerful don't waste time debating. They let their actions prove their point. Take Michelangelo, the legendary artist. When critics doubted his ability to carve a grand statue from a flawed block of marble, he didn't argue. Instead, he worked in silence, and when he unveiled David, the masterpiece spoke for itself. No words were needed. The lesson? Instead of trying to convince people, let your success do the talking. Actions are undeniable. Law 10. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. Misery is contagious. Some people always bring problems, bad luck, and negativity wherever they go. If you surround yourself with them, their misfortune will drag you down too. History gives us many examples of kings and rulers who brought ruin upon themselves by keeping toxic advisors and unlucky allies. In contrast, those who surrounded themselves with winners and visionaries often thrived. The takeaway? Choose your company wisely. Stay close to those who uplift and inspire you, and cut ties with those who drain your energy and bring endless problems. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. If people don't need you, they can replace you, but if they depend on you, they can never truly get rid of you. Cardinal Richelieu, the chief minister of France, mastered this law. He ensured that the king and nobility relied on his intelligence and political strategies. As a result, he remained indispensable, no matter how powerful the monarchy was. The lesson? Don't give away all your knowledge or skills. Keep a part of it to yourself, so others always have a reason to keep you close. Law 12. Use selective honesty to disarm your victim. A well-timed act of honesty can lower people's defenses. When they believe you are trustworthy, they let their guard down, making them easier to manipulate. During the early days of the mafia, gangsters would sometimes return lost wallets to strangers, refusing any reward. This act of unexpected honesty made people trust them, without realizing they were dealing with criminals. The takeaway? A small dose of honesty, when used strategically, can make people believe in your sincerity. And once they trust you, they become easier to influence. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to self-interest, never to mercy. People don't do things out of kindness. They do them because they see a benefit for themselves. If you need help, don't beg or remind others of past favors. Instead, show them how helping you will help them. During the Italian Renaissance, Cesare Borgia needed the loyalty of his soldiers. Instead of asking for their gratitude, he made them rich, powerful, and successful in return for their service. They didn't follow him out of love. They followed him because it benefited them. The lesson? Never assume people will help you just because they like you. Find what they desire and make it worth their while. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Information is power. The more you know about others, the more control you have over them. But to gather information, you must blend in, listen carefully, and make people feel comfortable enough to reveal their secrets. This was the strategy of Napoleon Bonaparte. He would casually chat with his officers, acting as a friend. But in reality, he was gathering crucial information about their ambitions, fears, and weaknesses. This knowledge allowed him to stay one step ahead at all times. The lesson? Be observant. Let people talk. The more they reveal, the more control you have. Law 15. Crush your enemy. Totally. If you leave an enemy wounded but alive, they will recover, learn from their mistakes, and strike back when you least expect it. True power comes from eliminating threats completely, so they can never rise again. Julius Caesar understood this well. When he defeated Pompey, he pursued his rival relentlessly until there was no chance of a comeback. In contrast, when the Allies spared Germany after World War I, it led to resentment and the rise of Hitler. A half-finished victory can be more dangerous than defeat. The lesson: don't show mercy to threats. If you strike, strike so hard that they can never retaliate. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. People take things for granted when they are always available, but when something is rare, it becomes valuable. Powerful people know how to make themselves scarce to create demand and curiosity. Think of legendary figures like Bruce Lee or Steve Jobs. They didn't attend every event or give endless interviews. Their absence made people crave their presence even more. The takeaway: don't be too accessible. Create mystery. Let people miss you and they will value you more. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Predictability is weakness. If people always know what you will do next, they can control you. But if you are unpredictable, they will always be on edge, never knowing how to act around you. The Russian ruler Ivan the Terrible was a master of this. His sudden mood swings and unpredictable punishments kept his enemies, and even his allies, afraid to cross him. The lesson: keep people guessing. Surprise them, confuse them, and they will always be on the defensive. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Many rulers throughout history have made the mistake of isolating themselves from the world, believing that staying in their castle would keep them safe. But this only made them blind to threats, leading to their downfall. Take the case of the last Ming Emperor of China. He locked himself inside his palace, cut off from reality, while his empire crumbled. By the time he realized what was happening, it was too late. The takeaway: never cut yourself off from people. Stay connected, gather information, and keep an ear to the ground. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Not all enemies are the same. Some are harmless, while others will stop at nothing to destroy you. If you don't choose your battles wisely, you may provoke someone far more dangerous than you expected. A perfect example is Michael III, a Byzantine emperor. He humiliated a quiet but intelligent court member named Basil. What he didn't realize was that Basil was not the type to forgive. Years later, Basil gained enough power to have Michael assassinated, and he took the throne for himself. The lesson: never underestimate people. Know who you are dealing with before making a move. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone powerful. People avoid unnecessary loyalty. Instead of tying themselves to one person or cause, they keep their options open, playing different sides to their advantage. During the Italian Wars, Cardinal Richelieu never fully committed to one ally. He constantly shifted alliances, ensuring that France always had the upper hand, no matter who was winning. The takeaway: don't chain yourself to one group, ideology, or leader. Stay flexible and move where the power flows. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark sometimes. The smartest move is to appear clueless. When people think you're naive or less intelligent, they lower their guard. That's when you strike. The legendary Chinese general Zhuge Liang once pretended to be weak and unprepared when an enemy army approached. Believing they had an easy victory, the enemy charged in, only to fall into his trap. The lesson: let others underestimate you. When they feel overconfident, they make mistakes, and that's when you take control. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When faced with a stronger opponent, fighting head-on can lead to destruction. But surrendering at the right time can give you the chance to regain power. In ancient China, the state of Zhao was on the verge of defeat against Qin. Instead of continuing the war, Zhao's ruler surrendered, biding his time. Years later, when the moment was right, Zhao rebuilt its forces and struck back. The takeaway: surrender isn't always weakness. Sometimes it's a strategy to regroup, regain strength, and win in the long run. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Dividing your energy across too many tasks weakens your power. The most successful people focus their resources, skills, and influence on a single dominant goal. John D. Rockefeller built his empire by concentrating on one thing: oil. While others tried to succeed in multiple industries, he focused on refining, perfecting, and controlling the oil market, making him one of the richest men in history. The lesson? Power comes from focus. Avoid distractions and pour everything into your strongest asset. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Power isn't just about skill, it's about playing the game. In every workplace, business, or empire, politics exist. Those who rise to the top understand how to flatter, charm, and navigate power structures. During the Renaissance, courtiers who mastered the art of diplomacy thrived, while those who spoke too freely or offended the wrong people were exiled or executed. The takeaway? Learn to read people. Know when to flatter, when to stay silent, and when to push forward. Social intelligence is just as important as skill. Law 25. Recreate yourself. The world rewards those who adapt, evolve, and reinvent themselves. People who cling to old identities, even when they stop being useful, fade into irrelevance. Consider Napoleon. He wasn't born into power. He created himself through strategy, image, and reinvention. He shaped how people saw him, always presenting himself as the visionary leader France needed. The lesson? Don't let the world define you. Take control of your identity, reinvent yourself when necessary, and shape the perception others have of you. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. Powerful people rarely get their hands dirty. Instead, they let others do their dirty work while they remain untarnished. Cardinal Richelieu, one of France's most powerful figures, never directly executed his enemies. He always had someone else carry out his orders, ensuring that no blood was ever on his hands. The takeaway? Avoid direct involvement in messy situations. Keep your reputation intact while others take the fall. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. People crave something to believe in, a vision, a leader, a movement. The most powerful figures in history knew how to harness this desire and build devoted followers. Consider Adolf Hitler and Charles Manson. Both created a sense of purpose, offering their followers an identity, a mission, and a cause. They controlled narratives, demanded loyalty, and ensured that their influence was absolute. The lesson? If you want power, give people something to believe in. Control the message, create rituals, and make people feel like they are part of something greater than themselves. This wraps up the next section. Let me know when you're ready for more. You said, next, ChatGPT said, here's the next part of your audiobook-style summary of the 48 Laws of Power. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Hesitation is dangerous. The moment you show doubt, others lose confidence in you and your enemies sense weakness. Powerful people act with boldness even when they are unsure. When Hernán Cortés landed in Mexico, he did something shocking. He burned his own ships. His men had no choice but to move forward with complete commitment. This bold move terrified his enemies and made his army fight with unmatched determination. The lesson? Move with confidence. Even if you don't know the outcome, act as if you do. Boldness attracts followers and intimidates opposition. Law 29. Plan. All the way to the end. Most people focus only on the next step. But true power comes from seeing the entire game. Those who plan every detail from beginning to end stay ahead of their rivals. Julius Caesar didn't just aim to cross the Rubicon, he had a full strategy to take Rome. Meanwhile, his enemies reacted impulsively, failing to see the bigger picture. The takeaway? Never act without a complete plan. Anticipate obstacles, calculate risks, and ensure that every move leads toward your ultimate goal. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Struggle is unattractive. If people see you working too hard, they assume you're not truly skilled. Powerful figures make even the hardest tasks look easy. Take Leonardo da Vinci. His paintings, like the Mona Lisa, seem effortless. But behind them were years of study, experimentation, and failed attempts. He never showed his struggle, only his mastery. The lesson? Hide your hard work. Let success speak for itself. Make power look natural. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play the cards. The best way to control people is not by force, but by giving them the illusion of choice. When people believe they have control, they don't realize they're actually playing your game. Henry Kissinger, the famous US diplomat, mastered this art. He would offer leaders two options, both of which ultimately benefited the US. The leaders believed they had power, but in reality, they were following his plan. The takeaway? Never give people real power over you. Control the choices they see, so no matter what they pick, you win. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. Reality is often dull. People crave excitement, adventure, and something greater than themselves. Those who rise to power know how to sell dreams. P.T. Barnum, the great showman, didn't just sell entertainment, he sold fantasy. His circus promised wonders beyond imagination, drawing crowds who wanted to escape their ordinary lives. The lesson? Give people a vision, a story, a fantasy they want to believe in. When you control their dreams, you control them. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness, something that controls them. It could be a deep fear, an uncontrollable desire, or a hidden insecurity. Those who understand these weaknesses gain power over others. Catherine de' Medici, the Queen of France, mastered this. She studied her enemies, learning their fears and desires. Then she used this knowledge to manipulate them, turning rivals into puppets. The takeaway? Learn what drives people. Once you know their true motivations, you can make them do anything. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. If you want respect, act as if you already have it. Those who carry themselves with confidence and authority are naturally seen as leaders. Louis XIV of France called himself the Sun King and behaved like a ruler even in his early years. His self-image became reality, and people treated him like the supreme authority. The lesson? Act as if you deserve power, and the world will believe it. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Power isn't just about making the right moves, it's about making them at the right time. Those who rush miss opportunities. Those who wait too long lose momentum. Masters of power strike when the moment is perfect. J.P. Morgan, the famous banker, knew exactly when to invest. While others hesitated, he made moves at the perfect moment, securing his place as a financial giant. The takeaway? Be patient but ready. Observe, wait, and when the time is right, act decisively. Law 36. Disdain. Things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. The more you react to something, the more power you give it. When people see that something bothers you, they gain control over you. The truly powerful know how to stay indifferent to things they cannot change. Michelangelo's rival, Pietro Torrigiano, once broke Michelangelo's nose in a fit of jealousy. But Michelangelo never retaliated. Instead, he became one of the greatest artists in history, while Torrigiano faded into obscurity. The lesson? Sometimes the best revenge is no reaction at all. Ignore what you cannot control and let success be your answer. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. People don't just follow logic, they follow emotions, symbols, and grand displays. If you want to capture attention, create a spectacle. Julius Caesar didn't just return to Rome, he staged a massive, triumphal parade, making his power visible to all. Napoleon crowned himself emperor in a grand ceremony, ensuring that people saw him as larger than life. The takeaway? Power is a performance. The more dramatic your presence, the more influence you have over others. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Standing out too much can be dangerous. Those who appear too different from the crowd often become targets. The wise keep their true thoughts hidden, blending in while secretly working toward power. During the Spanish Inquisition, free thinkers were burned at the stake. The smart ones pretended to follow the rules while keeping their own beliefs in secret. The lesson? Don't make yourself an easy target. Adapt to the environment, but never lose sight of your goals. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. When people are emotional, they make mistakes. Those who stay calm while others panic gain the upper hand. During World War II, Winston Churchill remained composed while Hitler acted out of rage and desperation. Churchill's steady leadership kept Britain strong, while Hitler's emotional decisions led to his downfall. The takeaway? Stay cool when tensions rise. If you can make others react emotionally, you control the game. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. Nothing in life is truly free. When something is given without cost, it often comes with hidden strings attached. The Trojan War started because the Greeks accepted a gift, a massive wooden horse. Inside, enemy soldiers waited to attack. The Trojans took it for free, and it led to their destruction. The lesson: be wary of gifts and favors. They often come with unseen obligations. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Following in the footsteps of a legend is risky. Expectations are high and comparisons are inevitable. The wise create their own path instead of living in someone else's shadow. Alexander the Great didn't just try to be like his father, King Philip. He surpassed him, carving his own legacy. The takeaway: don't imitate, innovate. Create your own identity and build power on your terms. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Every group has a leader. If you want to break the group, target the leader. When the head falls, the body follows. In the early days of the mafia, law enforcement struggled to stop crime until they started taking down the bosses. Once key figures were removed, the entire structure collapsed. The lesson: if you want to dismantle an enemy, don't fight everyone. Find the source of power and eliminate it. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. People are not controlled by force alone. They're controlled by emotions, loyalty, and belief. The most powerful figures know how to win hearts, not just battles. Mahatma Gandhi didn't use violence. He used persuasion, inspiring millions to follow him. His power came not from weapons, but from winning people's trust. The takeaway: influence is stronger than intimidation. Win people over and they will follow you willingly. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. When someone attacks you, don't react, reflect. Copy their actions, mimic their behavior, and throw their energy back at them. This frustrates and confuses them, taking away their power. During the Cold War, the US and the Soviet Union mirrored each other's moves, keeping each other in check. Each side knew that if they attacked, they would receive an identical response. The lesson: instead of direct confrontation, use reflection. People hate seeing their flaws thrown back at them. This wraps up the next section. Let me know when you're ready for more. You said, next. ChatGPT said, here's the next part of your audiobook-style summary of the 48 laws of power. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never too much at once. People fear sudden change. Even if a new idea is better, forcing it too quickly will lead to resistance. The most powerful leaders introduce change gradually, making it seem like a natural evolution rather than a revolution. When Emperor Augustus took control of Rome, he didn't abolish the Republic overnight. Instead, he maintained the appearance of the old system while slowly consolidating his power. Over time, people accepted him as their ruler without realizing they had lost their democracy. The lesson: change must be subtle. Make people feel like they are choosing the new way rather than having it forced upon them. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Nothing attracts envy more than perfection. When people see someone who seems flawless, they begin to look for ways to bring them down. The truly powerful know how to hide their strengths and display a few weaknesses to seem more relatable. Julius Caesar was a brilliant general, but he never presented himself as invincible. He occasionally showed vulnerability to his soldiers, making them feel loyal rather than jealous. The takeaway: avoid making others feel inferior. Let them see some struggles so they don't feel the need to destroy you. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aim for. In victory, learn when to stop. One of the greatest mistakes in power is not knowing when to stop. Many powerful figures pushed too far, turning victory into disaster. Napoleon conquered most of Europe, but he didn't stop. He invaded Russia, overextending his forces. The harsh winter and long supply lines led to his downfall. Had he stopped earlier, he might have remained in power. The lesson: power is not just about gaining, it's about knowing when to hold back. Stop before you provoke retaliation. Law 48. Assume formlessness. Rigidity is weakness. The most powerful people adapt to any situation, never allowing themselves to be predictable. Bruce Lee understood this concept well. He believed in being like water, taking any shape necessary. His adaptability made him one of the greatest martial artists of all time. The takeaway: never let others define you. Stay flexible, change when needed, and never become a target that's easy to hit.